Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mia Pompey podcast. Today, I want to talk about something that's been quietly changing my life. Not overnight, not in some dramatic, movie-worthy moment, but little by little. And it comes down to one realization. I've been waiting. And maybe you've been waiting too. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for more confidence. Waiting for more money. Waiting to lose weight. Waiting for life to settle down. Waiting for someone to tell you that you're ready. Maybe even waiting for permission. But one day I realized something. The waiting never ends until we decide that it does. I think of the most dangerous words in the English language. Maybe someday. Someday I'll take the trip. Someday I'll start the business. Someday I'll write the book. Someday I'll make new friends. Someday I'll put myself first. Someday I'll be happy. The problem is, someday feels productive. It feels like a plan. But often saying someday, it's just a delay. Because someday has a way of becoming next year. And then, before you know it, 5 years from now, and someday turns into 10 years from now. Before we know it, we're standing in the same place, holding the same dream, and wondering where the time went. When I started asking myself this question, I discovered something interesting. I wasn't really waiting for the right time. I was waiting to feel certain. I wanted guarantees. I wanted proof that things would work out. I wanted confidence before I took the first step. But you know what? Life doesn't work that way. Confidence isn't usually what comes before action. Confidence actually comes after the action. You do the thing. You survive it, you learn from it, and then confidence starts to grow. If you've listened to my show for a while, you know that this podcast didn't begin because I had everything figured out. It began because I decided to start. I didn't know if people would listen. I didn't know people would care. I really didn't know if I would be good at it. But you know what? I started anyway. And that became one of the biggest lessons of my life. Most things don't become clear before you begin. They become clear because you begin. I think people spend years making themselves smaller than they need to be. Not because they're incapable, not because they don't have talent, because they're afraid of failing. I felt that way at first, afraid of looking foolish, afraid of being judged, afraid of disappointing yourself. So instead of risking failure, they stay where it's safe. I wasn't doing that because I knew that if I didn't start this podcast, somewhere down the road, I would say, why didn't I do it? When you stay where it's safe, that's a problem. Because now, staying where it's safe becomes a cage. And eventually, The pain of staying the same becomes greater than the fear of changing. The older I get, the more I understand something. Time is moving, whether we participate or not. The calendar doesn't stop. The seasons don't stop. Life keeps moving. And I don't say that to be depressing. I say it because I think it's freeing. Because once you realize that life is moving anyway, you stop waiting for the perfect conditions. You start asking yourself a different question. Not, what if it doesn't work? But, what if it does? Over the past few months, I've been spending a lot of time thinking about what I'm building. The podcast, the conversations, the friendships, the community, and the next chapter. And you know what? I finally realized that it all comes back to one idea. And that idea is a North Star, a grounding belief. Something simple, but powerful. Real conversations, real growth, real life. Helping women live their next chapter with confidence, purpose, and connection. Because I truly believe that so many people are waiting for life to begin. And my message is simple. Your life has already begun. This is it. This moment, this season, this chapter. Not one day, not someday, but today. You know, when we hear next chapter, we often think that it has to be something huge. Maybe it's a new car. Maybe it's a new relationship. Maybe it's a major life change. But sometimes your next chapter is much smaller. Maybe it's setting a boundary. Maybe it's joining a book club. Maybe it's taking better care of yourself. Maybe it's making that doctor's appointment that you've been putting off. Maybe it's saying no. Maybe it's saying yes. You know, small steps count. And sometimes the smallest decision changes the whole direction of your life. Now, I want to leave you with the same question I've been asking myself. Not next year, not when everything is perfect, not when you're less scared, not when someone gives you permission. Today, right now. This is my question. What are you waiting for? Because life is not a dress rehearsal. And the next chapter you've been hoping for may be the moment you stop waiting and you take that first step. Thank you for spending your time with me. And if no one has told you lately, let me remind you, you don't need permission to start. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need permission to become who you're meant to be. Don't overthink anything and don't ever hold yourself back. You will never know the outcome until you take the chance. Until next time, take care of yourself. And remember, life is not a dress rehearsal. What are you waiting for?